welcome everyone. We're excited for you guys to be on the call today. Super excited about what we're going to be talking about, introducing you to an amazing human, and excited to have you guys get to know her a little bit more. So I figured, we're already past, our get started time. So let's get started. My name is Eric Tippett, founder of Rocket Recruiting, of the Abundance Pub. And today I figured we're going to go into not just one thing, one segment like Rocket Recruiting. We're going to go into more of a higher level of, what we're doing in home businesses, but also really making an impact in the world. And the reason why I tell you that is because, to stay motivated, you need to have, a purpose, something that's impacting people, accountability as you're impacting people. So I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Courtney Epps. Courtney is an amazing person from the moment, so we met a few months ago, and as I met her for lunch, it was amazing to me as you get to know her instantly, you see the passion, number one, come out. She's a hustler, holy moly. This girl is full throttle, but what I realized is what drove her is she has a much higher purpose that she's going after and a mission that she's creating in a sustainable impact in the world. And I want to talk about that and let her give you a little bit more insight to her. But first of all, welcome, Courtney. Super excited for you to be here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, Eric.
Awesome. So I think, many people know you as this superstar tax professional supporting the home business arena. You're, passionate about it and an advocate for it. But I'd like to let's humanize you. You're going a million places and on a million shows and speaking at TED Talks and things. But tell us a little bit more about you. Like, tell us your background, just, where you come from.
So I have been an accountant for the last 19 years. And, I would not categorize myself as a traditional accountant. So an accountant for me is someone who prepares tax returns or does bookkeeping. My focus is strategy. So I love to find money for people. That is the only thing that I like about being an accountant. And then on top of that, I have 6 children. They are 18, 17, 16, 15, 13, and 8. I have a husband that I have been with him for the last 9 years, and he was my first love. So that's pretty amazing. He is a stay-at-home dad. And I have a full-service accounting firm here in Greenville, South Carolina, that is a multi-million-dollar accounting practice. And I'd be willing to say that as of right now, we're probably the fastest growing accounting practice in the country, only because we're focused on strategy. So I'm an international speaker. I speak for Eric Worre, for Les Brown, for Tony Robbins. Coming up in a couple weeks, I'll be speaking at Business Mastery too. I'm super excited about that for Tony. And, I have 2 books, but literally my mission in life is to teach more, how to save more, how to have more, live more, give more. And then I, in turn, can nourish more children and free more children from sex trafficking.
So I think we'll get into those in a deeper level, but let's go back a little bit and I hope you don't mind me,
No.
kind of digging into, if I was to ask you, what was the lowest time? Because everybody looks at other people, and the challenge with social media, especially, is everybody's comparing. Everybody thinks everybody came from a better place, more education, more money, better childhood, whatever it is. But I want to dispel that right now, because I want people on this to understand where you came from a standpoint of, if I was to ask you, what was the lowest time in your personal life? Like, what lowest time in your life, to help people understand. When you explained that to me, got goosebumps and said, people need to hear that and hear your story and understand where you came from and then where you've come.
Yep. So, it's a couple, handful of things. As far as personal life, it was probably when my husband left. My first husband got drunk and beat me up in front of my children when they were 3, 2, and 4 weeks old. So I was a single mom at 23 with three very small children. So I had just left my job. I worked for Aflac at that point in time because I hated accounting, and I've tried to do everything but my whole entire life, and it just has always been that is my superpower and what I'm supposed to do. So I just quit my job 2 weeks before, and I had no money. So that was a rough place in my life, and I made it. I stepped out of that. I ended up getting remarried, and I bought an insurance agency and grew that insurance agency from 500 clients to 3,500 clients in a matter of 3.5 years by the age of 29. So I was making it, and I ended up putting that business up for sale because I was dealing with a custody battle with my ex-husband, and I made it wrong. I made a bad mistake. I sold it. I didn't have an attorney review the documents. And 4 months later, after I sold it on an installment agreement, the guy stopped paying me. And I lost everything that I owned. Plus, I was $250,000 in debt. And again, I felt like a failure. So, that really catapulted where I am today. But it took me about 6 years to really wake up and realize that I was massively undervaluing myself. I was dealing with a place where I was self sabotaging myself because I was scared to death to make a wrong decision. So I would become a failure again. And I was scared that my children, I'd spent 3.5 years working 100 hours a week building a business that now I have nothing to show for other than debt. And I really wanted to build a legacy company for my children, and I didn't have that. And so I showed up at a Tony Robbins event, and that's where I really understood, that I was self sabotaging myself, undervaluing myself, which was forcing me to get the wrong clients. I didn't even have a business card. I didn't have an email. I didn't want to be an accountant. Like I tried for numerous years to do everything, but I was involved in a fundraising company. Me and my mom, we had a wholesale company, a retail store. I've done insurance, and then on top of that, I also had, um, I got involved in network marketing, and I fell in love with that concept of being able to free up money for people by having a home-based business. And that's where I really saw the benefits for someone who was a W-2 employee to start a business. And so fast forward a couple years later, I showed up to Tony Robbins event June of 2017. I was in a really bad place at that point. I was living in a house that was infested with mold. So I was losing my memory and had a lot of medical issues and didn't realize what was going on. And I kind of shut down for about 6 weeks. So self sabotage, undervaluing myself, getting the wrong clients. I had massive limiting beliefs. And then on top of that, I was choosing to be sad. And when I realized that you got to choose every single day, whether you were happy, sad, mad, grateful, blessed, whatever you felt like you wanted to believe that day, that you got to choose that. And that all shifted for me. And we've now grown 4,000% since then.
I think one thing you hit on, and I talk a lot about, is your beliefs. That people always say, well, why can I be that? Or why am I not on the stage? And why am I not getting the ranks and all these things? And not understanding their beliefs, they don't see themselves there.
Yep.
And they don't realize those beliefs are they put you exactly where you think you should be.
Yep.
That you're worthy of.
Yep.
And so that's a really interesting thing to hear you say, here I was, but to go to a Tony Robbins and have that transition to fill that gap, but understand those beliefs and those self-sabotaging talk and the mindset, all those things that everybody, the gurus talk about all the time. People don't realize that really, as cliche as it sounds, these are the things that allow you to make that transition or that gap from I was dead broke, I was, beat up in mentally, physically, everything, but then getting into a successful business. Those things take time.
Yes.
And work to do that.
Yes.
So, as you go from the struggle to you're seeing success, and you understand the network marketing engine and how powerful that is, and what it can be for anyone. It doesn't discriminate. Anybody can be a part of it. As you got into taxes and you started to understand the value of a home business, talk to us more about, was there that light switch, or did you always understand that everyone needs a home business or else you're just paying, you're getting killed in tax or paying too much in taxes? Where did that really dawn on you that that's a place that most people don't understand, they're scared of, and you can be such a massive impact?
So I knew that everyone needed a business. I didn't realize, I never really thought about the fact that everyone needed to have some sort of home-based business until I started doing tax returns for people in the network marketing industry. And I was able to show them where they would have been prior without their home-based business and where they were with the home-based business. And so to just kind of give you some idea and understanding, I did over 900 tax returns while I was in my first network marketing company for clients. And what I was doing was I was showing them how beneficial their home based business was, whether they made money or not. And what I found is that I could save the average person $4,000 to $8,000 a year just by having a home based business. And here's why that's very important and extremely valuable. 2 years ago, I'd made a decision. Me and my husband said, when we get to a certain level in my accounting practice, because I really did hate it for a long time. I just my focus has never been about making money. And when you're an accountant, the whole focus has to be about making money because you're either costing people money or you're saving people money. And so that was just what it was all about. And I always felt like there was so much more to life than just being focused on money every day. So we'd made a decision that once I got to a certain level in my accounting practice, I could start doing network marketing part time if I wanted to. And we kind of made that commitment because I love network marketing. And I was on my way to go sign up for a network marketing company to meet the company leaders. And I stopped and listened to a Grant Cardone. It was a webinar. I was listening to it on the way to Tampa. And it said that the average household income in America was $60,000 a year, which is a family of four. And that the cost of living, or excuse me, the amount of taxes that family is going to pay is about $14,000, leaving them with a take-home pay of $46,000. But the
Yeah.
problem with that, and you in California, I mean, Eric, your cost of living is dramatically different than South Carolina, but the cost of living on average in America is $53,000 a year. So the average household income in America, based on what they're taking home, is 46,000, and their cost of living is 53. They're going in debt $7,000 a year to work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to take 2 weeks paid vacation. And so at that point, it was like almost like I felt like God came down and he said, you have to do this. Like you are the only accountant that has been in the network marketing industry that understands the value of having a home-based business that could prove that you could save a family $4,000 to $8,000 a year, depending on their tax bracket, and you can end the suffering. And so that's exactly what I started doing is I started sharing that information and providing that content. But I didn't learn this stuff in college. I learned this by being an entrepreneur first and knowing what all I could write off and then teaching other people how to do the exact same thing. And I was an entrepreneur that was an accountant. Most accountants, they become a CPA after college, they put in their 150 hours, which I have. They become a CPA, they read all of this stuff that the IRS gives them, and they're scared to death to save somebody money in taxes. They have no understanding or comprehension of tax strategy because we don't learn that in college. Shocker, we're taught by government employees, right? And then we go through this whole life of continuing education, and they're telling you what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't write off, but they're never explaining to you, here's how you save money for your clients. So I just learned it throughout and I knew what I was doing. And then I started helping people understand the things that I knew that I learned over time just by being a sheer business owner.
So explain that a little bit further, because this is something that, so we built this rocket recruiting app, and the whole premise on version one was it was just a calculator. And it was just to take exactly what you're saying and give people the ability to share with somebody and say, I just learned how much money I was losing by not having a home-based business. Are you interested in maybe how much you're losing? And it was just a quick way to take it from the clouds of, hey, it might be this, where people go, whatever, where they don't take it serious, and bringing it down to say, well, this is approximately what you just said, around $400 to $700 a month, which is game changer for most people.
Yeah.
The average network marketer wants to make an extra $200 to $500 a month. You can show them how to start keeping an extra $400 to $700 a month. That means they are already profitable in their business month one.
Yeah.
They haven't even, maybe haven't even sold a product yet.
Yeah.
But yet they start profitable. Give themselves a chance to learn the business, learn the products, learn how to make sure that they're able to go and present it correctly, but they're profitable. Can
Yeah.
you just, it amazes me that the light bulb doesn't just kick on for people and they just go, holy crap, like every person on my phone needs to hear this, but yet people still say, oh, I need to pick and choose who's the best, or who's not going to turn me down, or who loves this product. I just want you to reinforce what we're talking about right here, that when you say I can help somebody start to keep an extra $400 to $700 a month, go a little bit deeper, explain that a little bit further.
So the biggest part of that is, it's not about how much money you make, right? It's about how much money you keep. So if you are saving $400 to $700 a month in taxes, then that is equivalent to you keeping, right, or you having to make about $700 to $1,100 a month. So, I mean, who wouldn't rather, keep their money, or, your paycheck is not going to increase that much money. Typically, most people are not getting a $3.50 an hour raise today, especially with everything going on. But here's why it's important. I think this is a big deal. Taxes will cost you more in your lifetime than food, clothing, housing, and transportation combined. It is the number one expense that we have. And so that it means that we should spend the most amount of time on trying to figure out how to decrease that one expense legally, morally, and ethically. And why it's very important, again, is 46% of Americans don't have an extra $400 to their name. 69% of Americans don't have an extra $1,000 to their name. So if I go to someone and I have a conversation and say, hey, have you ever thought about the fact that a home-based business could save you $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes? And they're like, no, I did not know that. Well, that's valuable information. So if I could help you save $4,000 to $8,000 a year in taxes, what would that do to your life? And we know that it would dramatically shift the majority of human beings in the United States. It would shift their lifestyle completely. It could take them from being in a negative to being in a positive, and then they're getting the positive reinforcement. They're getting the personal growth and development. They're getting the continuing education. They're around the right people, which is going to take them to another higher elevation. And in that process, all of that becomes a tax deduction. So when you, why that's important, yet again, if you have a conversation with someone and you tell them about your product or service and the ability for them to make some extra money, and they tell you that they don't have the money to do it, well, you just found a way to show them how they do have the money. They just need to free it up. They're just overpaying it in taxes, and the ability for them to start a business. And now I'm able to write off my meals and my mileage and my cell phone and business use of my home. And I can hire my kids, and I can write off my travel, and I can write off my medical bills and my medical insurance and my cell phone, my internet. All of those become 100% tax deductible if you're utilizing them for business purposes. So now you've freed up the money. So you've shown people a way to not only free up the money to get involved, but you've shown them a way to stay involved long enough to win. Because if the average person, yet again, only has $400, then they may look at this opportunity and say, there's no way on earth I can do it. And then in their mind, they have to come up with the reason why you are wrong for doing it. So instead of just telling the truth, which the majority of people do not, unfortunately, is instead of saying, you know what, I just don't have the money to get started. Like, I'd love to be involved in this. They say, you're crazy. This is absurd. This is not real. This is a pyramid scheme. Because in their mind, they have to prove that this is not the right thing for them, because if they can't afford it, then subconsciously they have to tell themselves it's the wrong situation. It's like saying, I want, what is it, Rolls Royce? No, you have a Bentley. Okay. So I can say, if I can't afford a Bentley, then I'm going to tell myself that it is crazy for me to ever think about a Bentley. It's not resourceful. It's not the best use of my money. It's a bad business deal. But in the back of my mind, I still want a Bentley, right? But now I'm telling my brain that this is not logical for me, or this is not in my best interest. If I want a 10,000 square foot home, I could say that's a waste of money. Why in the world would I spend that when I could go do this and this and this and this? And so that's what's happening to the majority of people, is that they have to tell themselves that what you're offering them is stupid or crazy or not legal, because they can't afford it. And it's not that they can't afford it because they may have some extra money, but they can't afford to lose that money. And even if they
Right.
could get involved, even if they believe that they could do it, if they don't have that extra money every single month to be able to build that business up, they're taught that it costs a lot of money to stay in business. And you have to have a lot of money in order to make a lot of money. They don't realize that that's not true. That's just a way to keep them broke for the rest
Right.
of their life. And so
Right.
when we teach people, like, look, the money's there. The money's there to get involved. The money's there to stay involved. The more money you spend in growing your business, the more money you're going to keep in tax savings. And then from there, we're going to teach you how to keep more of your hard earned money as you continue to make it. Like, that's really the mission, right? At the end of the day.
Yep.
And Eric, if I pick up the phone and I call you and we go to lunch and I sit down and I share with you what I'm doing, and you may say, Courtney, you know what? I love this. I want to be a part of it. I want to make some extra money. I want to be a part of the product or service. Great. Or you may say, you know what, Courtney, I'm not interested in making any money. Says no one ever, right? Like, at least legitimately, you're lying straight to my face if you say that, because everybody wants more money. They may want to use it for different things, but
Yep.
everybody wants more money. And then the third thing, but they may say, you know what, I love the product or service. I want to be a part of that. That's great. That's fine. Or you may say, you know what, Courtney, I think you're going straight to hell or jail. And I'm like, you just don't get it, buddy. Like, I'm just showing you a way that you could potentially save $4,000 to $8,000 a year on your taxes, having a home-based business. You can buy a product at wholesale versus retail. And then on top of that, you have the potential to make extra money. And people are willing to help you get to where they've gotten because they financially benefit from you. But guess what? How do you make money? You show other people how they can save $4,000 to $8,000 a year on their taxes, how they can buy their product at wholesale versus retail, and how they can potentially make some extra money. The last time I checked, that is changing the world. That is helping enough people get exactly what they want, so you automatically get what you want. Like, there's nothing better than the network marketing industry, as
See,
far
I
as
think,
I'm concerned.
yeah, a couple things I just want to make sure everybody heard, and kind of focus on, as you were going through that. One thing that everyone is extremely concerned about is rejection. And they're going to reject me. They're going to think, reputational risk. They're going to think I'm crazy, and what am I doing? And you just said it right there, that they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting themselves.
Yeah.
They're rejecting that they don't believe, number one, they're worthy. They don't believe exactly where Courtney was, and she filled that gap. If you do not give somebody the ability to get through the gap without eliminating the money obstacle, you guys, you might be able to get people into your network marketing business or in any business, but let me just tell you, you're going to have a retention problem.
Yeah.
You are going to have a major retention problem. People, it's a revolving door. They get in, you do all this work and all the presentations and all the time. They get in, they don't make money for the first 30 days. You lost them. And there's studies shown, I think it was like the average network marketer is in 36 days or something, long enough to get that second auto ship and go, I'm never going to succeed. This is craziness. What am I doing? So I think that's really important mindset wise to start to understand people are not rejecting you. They need to understand that you truly care about them and that you're going to help them get through the transition of going from, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been a business owner. I'm scared to death. I've never been an entrepreneur. I'm an employee. I don't know what to do. And they always lead it to, and I die. I'm going to die. And you go, how'd you go from an entrepreneur to like, you're rejected in death? So you've got to help them understand that, hey, I'm not here to take any money from you. I don't want to put you in a further, stress. I don't want to put any stress on your back. What I'm here to do is to give you information. And that's why I always say product is rejectable. Information is not. It's rejection free. Exactly what Courtney's telling you right now about, hey, I can help you save, keep. You already made it. It's your money. I can help you put it back in your pocket or give it to the government, put it back in your pocket, and now invest it in you and making you more money. And at the end of the year, the government, you have the same goal, make more money, pay more in taxes. They want more tax revenue, but so they have to help you make more money. Yeah. So the challenge is everybody gives away their money, has no money to get in the home business or stay in at 30 days, drop out, and then keep paying the most in taxes and then hoping they get a little bit money back at the end of the year.
Yes.
So you guys, this is extremely critical to understand that whole method of what Courtney just said. You can go out and you can sell product. There's a million products, but you're going to compete against other products. There's not a product that nobody else doesn't have. So you got to think of, unless you are an amazing closer salesperson, you need to start looking at it from a standpoint of, how do I just give good information? And I call it lead with a giving hand. If I show you that I am losing, my wife and I were losing $400 to $700 a month, and I have a bulletproof way to help you start to keep an extra $400 to $700 of your money, what you find is that makes it to where I don't go, I won't tell my brother, I won't tell my mom, I won't tell my sister. Why would you not tell your brother, sister, mother, cousin, friends, if you have a way to help them start to keep more of their hard-earned money on every paycheck? So one thing I just want to preface, and I want you to kind of give me your feedback on this. If somebody takes, let's just call it $400. Okay, so they went to work every day. They're stressed out. They're already, at the end of the year, like Courtney was saying, they're already in water. They're already underwater. And you're saying, let me help you put an extra $400 back on your paycheck, back in your pocket. My business is $150 a month. That means you're $250 a month positive cash flow. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you learn this business, and I'm going to help do this for you and share that information. If you put $400 a month in your pocket today, what you've got to realize, and a really important point, is that at the end of the year, you put $4,800 in your pocket today, every month. You have to make sure you're documenting those expenses. Correct? So if I take $400 now, $4,800 in a year, I need to start tracking my expenses, because at the end of the year, I need to show that I spent $4,800 or $5,000 on my business, on things. So it isn't about, this is the beauty of it. It isn't just take the money and then just sit there and like, I'm not going to do anything with it. The government gives this to you because they want you to go invest in your business, in you. Yeah. Get it, and when Courtney talks about, meals or entertainment or mileage, is massive mileage, all these things you're already doing them. Yeah. So if you're tracking them, and at the end of the year, you come out to where you show $5,000, that was all money that just went right back in your pocket that invested in your business that you would have already invested. You just didn't have the money to. You just barely got the product, barely in the business. Well, I have no money to do any marketing, take somebody out to eat, whatever it might be. That's a very important fact. Courtney, what do you?
Yeah, I mean that's the, for me, and I'll just give you where I was, 6 years ago when my parents actually paid for me to get involved in my first network marketing company. I didn't have the money to get started. I mean, I couldn't even fathom. It was like there was $325 or something like that. And I had 6 kids and I was barely getting by. I had a lot of medical issues from stress and overwork. And, I couldn't even fathom that because I didn't have that extra money. I had to provide for my family. And I got involved in that company and I put 900 people in that company. And I became the number one woman income earner in the state of South Carolina with that company. I was in the top 1% of the entire company. And I didn't have the money to get started. And then the second company, I had some issues with that company, major issues with upline. It was a good old boy system. I was teaching and growing much faster than they were, and they tried to attack me. So, for those of you that don't know, I mean, I spent 18 hours a day going and doing presentations. Like, I know what it's like to sit at a Starbucks, or Atlanta Braid Company was actually where I sat all the time. And I mean, I was there and doing presentations every single hour. So I've been in your shoes. I know exactly what it's like and I love it. I honestly, I would go back to it today, but the thing is that somebody has to be here doing all these tax returns. Somebody's got to be here reviewing all this stuff. Somebody's got to be here as your advocate saying this is the best thing that you could possibly do for your life, for your family's life, is to be in a home-based business. So that's why I choose to stay out of it. It's not because I don't love it, because I would just spend my whole entire life just running my mouth all day long, every single day, if I had the ability to do that. But I know how beneficial that I am and how much impact that I'm having on the world right now. So, but for me, the second company that I got involved in, because my income had dropped so low from the first company, it was $421 to get started. It was a nutrition company and it was 420. I had $428 in my bank account. That's why it is so super important for you to understand that I was one of those people. I didn't have an extra $400 to my name. I was 8 hours away from home in Alabama. I did not have any way to create an income. This was 4 years ago. I didn't have a tax practice outside of tax season. So this was in October, the very end of October. And I had my 6 children with me. And I got to choose between, do I spend the $421 knowing I only have 428, or do I keep the $428? And I opted to spend the 421. And the reason why is because I'm an entrepreneur. I saw it as that I have no other options. I have to make this work. And the first week, I hit the fourth rank in the company. The first day, like, I didn't even sleep. We drove straight home, 8 hours there, left at 2 a.m. in the morning. I got in my car. I started going and seeing people because I knew without a shadow of a doubt I had to make money to provide for my family. And sometimes I think that's what people need more of. They need more of no option. Like, you have no option of losing. And for me, that was the way it was. And I knew that I had to make $5,000 that month. And if I did not, I would be homeless. That's what I knew. Like, I didn't have a husband who had an income. He was a stay-at-home dad. We were homeschooling our kids. We had to make it work. So I took that $421. I had $7 left over. Luckily, my husband had $30 cash in his pocket, and we had 6 children. We were 8 hours away from home, and I made that work. And in 4 months, I was top 1% of that company. I was hit the fifth rank in the company. I remember March 17th on St. Patrick's Day, I hit Emerald in that company. I was making $7,000 a month, 4 months in. And I was still running my accounting practice because January hit and it was time to do accounting. So, what I want you to understand is that you have the ability and the potential to completely and utterly change somebody's life. If they don't choose to change their life, that's one thing. But the thing is you're setting them up with the right information. You're putting them around the right people. So, should you talk to every single person about it? Yes. Should you talk to people that don't have the money? Yes. Should you talk to people that don't think that network marketing is legitimate? Yes. Should you talk to people that make a lot of money? Yes, because they need tax deductions.
That's right. They're the ones that pay the most.
Exactly.
They're looking for what you have.
Oh my goodness. And so when you start realizing that, that network marketing is for everyone unless they love to pay taxes. That's it. That's it. If you want to pay taxes, don't start a home-based business.
I mean, that's, I hope this is something that we keep hitting on and keep hitting on. And why I thought it was so important for you to be on today is that I almost feel like people just don't believe it. I want you on here because I want everyone on this call to understand here is the tax professional. And here is somebody that advocates for home-based business because she knows what you're going through. She's been there, so she understands the struggles that you're going through, but also how to build the organization. If you're selling product and that's all you do is sell product, I get it. Great job. But if you ever want to really build your ranks, your compensation, all of that, you need to sponsor people. You need to build an organization. You need to build a team. And that requires talking to people. So, and if you're not talking to them, you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to buy leads and I'm just going to never talk to anybody. And they just magically, what Courtney just said is you're assuming that they have the money, not understanding how stressed out people are. Yep. And that you can actually change their life by helping them keep more money versus approaching them on how to spend more money and adding more stress to their life. Do you want to add more stress, or do you want to help them keep more money right now? Then give them the ability to transition over into how to make more money.
Yes.
This is really important, you guys, because we sit here with Rocket Recruiting with the tax savings estimator. And if you're not sending out 5, 10, 20 of these reports a day to show people that they're losing money, and here's the nation's averages, then what Courtney is telling you right now is falling on deaf ears. Like you're going to get off this call, you're going to go back to who in my phone is a great salesperson, who's going to buy my product, not understanding. I mean, guys, listen to what Courtney is saying. Not only from a tax professional of saying, I'm going to help everyone that you bring in, I'm going to help them keep an extra $400 to $700 a month on average. Second is, I've been in that place of your prospect, so I know what they're going through and the stresses they're going through. So, one thing we're super excited about this transition that we've made with Rocket Recruiting is that when you are sending out those tax savings estimator, we have partnered up with Courtney that her firm is going to be, when you send out that report and your prospect says, wow, I didn't realize I was losing, $484 per month. I want to get started. Who do I talk to? They don't talk to you. You're not a tax, everyone on here that's around, not Courtney, you're not a tax professional. Stay in your lane. You're there to just give the information. We give Courtney's contact, her firm's contact information for them to call so they can validate, oh my gosh, this is real. And this is a smart decision. Then Courtney's firm is going to say, hey, we're going to help you start to keep that. But the only way by doing that is to contact the person that sent you here. You need to get into their business. That's the only way you're going to get here. This doesn't happen without this. And so I want you guys to understand what you have, the tool that you have in your hand. You guys are sitting here with the tool that you can send out and show people how much money they're losing by not having a home-based business. And then you have the guru, Courtney's firm in the back end that's going to help you credibilize, make sure that they understand this is really coming from, this is legal. I think a lot of people also think, this can't be legal. This is, it's a scheme and it's not legal.
Let me share that. So I want to make people understand why we get so many massive tax benefits by having a home-based business. So there are two tax systems in our country, and there is a tax system that was created to steal wealth away, and that is truly the W-2 employee tax system. And if you think about it, what Zig Ziglar says, you help enough people get exactly what they want, you'll automatically get what you want. A W-2 employee is only worried about their household. They're not they're not impacting anybody else typically. So a business owner, the business owner tax system was created to provide wealth for us. And the reason why is it'll make perfect sense, okay? We make money, we then push that money back out into the economy to aka business expenses, right? So
Yep.
somebody's paying money on those. Somebody's paying money in taxes on that. And then from the next part is Congress hopes that we'll eventually hire employees because they know that 70% of jobs are created by small to medium sized businesses. So we as business owners, if we don't get massive tax deductions, we can't ever turn into Amazon, Microsoft, Google because they started out of their garage just like we do today. It's just the great part about a home based business is the majority of people stay in their home based business. Like they stay at home. They don't have to build the infrastructure. You don't have to have a 6,000 square foot facility like I do to be in network marketing. You don't have to have an office. You don't have to have 20 employees. You don't have to have inventory. You don't have to have all of these things. And so when you realize, wow, you know what? I have the benefit of being able to stay at home. I get the same tax benefits of being Amazon, Costco, Microsoft, Google, but I get to do that from home. And then I have the ability to redirect my living expenses and turn those into business expenses. So I'm not spending more money out of my pocket. And then I'm getting the education that is also a tax deduction to grow my business. And I have people who are helping me grow my business because they financially benefit from me. And then on top of that, I get to eventually make some extra money if I just stay in this long enough and do it long enough and attempt. Like it is the smartest thing that you could ever possibly do is to get involved in a home-based business. And I'm not just telling you that because I mean, I don't get paid to be on this call. Like Eric just asked me, he's on my calendar. I show up and I speak the truth. But I do have an amazing TEDx that I just did that I will tell you is probably the best speaking engagement I've ever done. I mean, I'm so proud of me on it because I was on fire that day. Like I really, I really am passionate, guys, about having a home based business and going from being a business owner, losing everything that I have in brick and mortar, having a business for 9 years from my home, and then being forced for code enforcement because I had 13 employees working out of my house and 6 children and a dog and a husband, all working from my 4,000 square foot home. And then code enforcement showed up last September and they're like, you can stay, but they have to go. And I'm like, no, that's not fair. Like, I have a home based business. I don't want a brick and mortar business. But now I spend my every day, like, my focus is just to go back home and have a home based business with my family because there's nothing like getting up every single morning and seeing every one of your children right there with you that you can love, that you can spend time with, that you can have breakfast with. That is priceless. And I built a $1 million accounting practice right at my home without ever having a business. And so that's what you get. Like, you get such priceless benefits, things that you can't get back, time that you can't get back. I mean, you think about it, you may make $50,000 a year. The average person makes, it's crazy, $30,000 a year on average. So family of four is making 60 grand a year. But the average person who is making $100,000 a year, and I learned this when I was selling insurance, they only have $250 a month in expendable income. So you're making 100 grand a year, but you're paying 35,000 minimum in taxes, if not 40,000. And then so you're left with $60,000.
You're
So
right back.
why in the
Right
world?
back.
Right. You start a home based business, you save more money, you keep more of the money you're already making, and then you start making more money. And when you get to a point where you have reached more than $60,000 a year in income, quit your job and then you can do this full time. It's
It's
amazing.
it
So,
it's
anyway,
it's really just about the mindset of turning taxes from a liability into an asset.
yes.
You wonder why, the Buffett effect. Why does Warren Buffett's secretary uh, spend or uh, pay more in taxes than Warren Buffett? It's because he understands the wealthy understand these tax laws. They understand the things they can do to minimize and keep more of that to put it into their businesses.
Yeah.
That's all we're saying here is just be smart, be strategic about your home business. Don't just get into a home business and, loosey goosey, it's a hobby. If it's a hobby for you, it will pay you like a hobby.
Yes.
If it's a business for you, then make it a business and make it profitable. Make it to where, and that's really it. That's your mindset into how you're going to treat your business. So we're getting, we've got about 12, 13 minutes left. I want to kind of transition because, we're going to do this many times of going into, the home-based business, but I believe that people have an issue with motivation. And the reason why is because motivation to them is emotional. And
Yep.
from a standpoint of, I get super fired up, I watch a video and I'm gonna go kill it. And then I stub my toe and I'm like, oh, ouch, whoa, whoa. Oh, what am I doing? Well, what am I? I'm crazy to do that. Well, I've also understood that, and just for me personally, and I know for you, motivation for us has to be bigger than us. And for instance, if I know that, I'm going to feed a child, and if I don't do these things each day, that child doesn't get fed, I'm pretty motivated. Like
Right.
I'm accountable. I've got somebody rely on me. They're waiting to make sure I do my tasks, my daily tasks. I want to transition into your purpose, because I believe that if you don't have something, a purpose, a mission, something that you believe in, you want to be a part of bigger than you, then you're living too small. You're living in your little bubble. And once you start getting out into a much bigger cause and a global, and you're a part of something that you can make a difference in and an impact, it drives you.
Yep.
And so I want to talk more about what drives you, what purpose, what missions, because I know that's something that's, as we talked at lunch, you're like, I, this many kids and this many, like, she almost like punched me like, listen to me.
Yeah.
So talk more about that.
So, for me, about 2.5 years ago, well, let me step back. That last nutrition company that I was involved in was something called a social business. And I fell in love with the nonprofit that they were funding. And what they were doing was providing the same products that I was taking that, and I'll tell you, I mean, like my story is crazy. Like it is legit, probably the craziest story you've ever heard. I mean, I've had so many medical issues throughout my life. I was supposed to have a brain surgery about 13 years ago. The doctors told me I need to put a stent in my brain to bypass the nerve in my brain that causes migraines. I don't have migraines today. I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome 24 years ago, 25 years ago. I don't have any symptoms of that anymore today. My migraines that I had every day for 10 years are gone. I was told I had fibromyalgia and 9.5 years ago, and I don't have that today. I've had mercury poisoning, mold poisoning, and I had 5 miscarriages. So a lot of stuff, and I'm probably missing a couple things. Oh, and mono twice. So my immune system was really compromised. And, so for me, I took these products and got better. Well, there was a nonprofit that they were providing the same nutrition for, and I fell in love with that impact that they were doing truly a buy one, give one model. And what I ended up doing is I got sick actually through the process. I got very, very sick. That's one of the reasons why I stepped back and stopped building um, any company for that matter. But I was living in mold, and that caused my symptoms and my issues to be very debilitating. I actually lost my memory for about 6.5 months. And so when I got better, I got better, it took a matter of time. I fell in love. I'd already, loved the fact that I could provide this whole food plant based nutrition to children in need or advanced immune support, but I was too busy growing my accounting practice and I could not stop what I was doing and do something different. And so what I did is I reached out to the nonprofit, the owner of the nonprofit. His name was Sam Castor, and I said, "Look, I love what you're doing. I want to be a part of it. How much does it cost me to provide nutrition for a child?" And he told me it was $2 a month. And well, he said $2. And I'm like, $2 a day? And he's like, no, it's $2 a month. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So what I started doing is I developed a social business of my own. Instead of, doing a buy one, give one, like they were doing with for every serving, they were providing a serving of advanced immune support. I started doing it with every dollar. And, and the reason why I did it that way, and I want you to understand this is a tax tidbit, a huge one, is that if you find something you're passionate about and you start giving from a gross income instead of giving from a net income level, then it becomes 100% tax deductible as a cost of goods sold item. So that means it's a 100% business expense, which is a huge, huge deal. Okay. Now, when I started that, I didn't have the money to give. I did not. I mean, we were literally dealing with buying everything we owned back. We were dealing with a lawsuit with this mold exposure because the landlord sued me because he knew that he was hiding mold in the house and he was trying to force us out. And, sure enough, I gave anyway. And I remember that month, it was 15,000 servings that we were able to provide in advanced immune support, which cost me about 800 bucks. And I gave that check and I didn't have the money really to give it. I didn't have the extra money in the bank account. And I remember the next week, I got a check. So I asked Sam, I said, Sam, I really want to give this money to you. Can you just hold this check for a week? And he said, sure, that's fine. And so I gave it. And the next week, the IRS sent me a check for $25,500 that I'd been waiting on for 3.5 years for an audit that just ended up getting backed up. And they had held my tax refund every single year for 3 years. And they just sent it to me out of the blue. And I remember that I was like, that is so amazing. Like I understood that if you give, then you'll receive, but I'd never really done it, and I knew that I was always going to be provided for, but it's like when you go above and beyond something, things shift for you. But here's what really shifts today. That was about 500 servings or 500 children that we were providing advanced immune support to every single day today. And we were doing about 15,000 a month. Today, we are at $320,000 a month. We are providing over 10,000 servings of nutrition, advanced immune support to children in need all over the world. And it's not my goal to get to 10,000. It's my goal to do 55,000 next year. It is my goal to eradicate childhood malnutrition in the next 5 years. I do not work. I do not speak. I do not get up to make money. I get up to change the world. I get up to end suffering. I know that every day now, because of what we're doing with Mana Relief, that's the nonprofit that we work with to provide that advanced immune support. And sadly enough, they're the only nonprofit in the entire world that provides non-synthetic products to children. That's a big deal. Then we added on the last well. And so the last well is spelled Well. I know I say that incorrectly. People think it's like a well in the ocean, swimming in the ocean. It is not. I mean, like a water well. And so what we're doing right now is we're working with the last well and we're providing safe drinking water for people in Liberia. And then once we finish that out by the end of the year, that'll finish. There'll be access. 5.2 million people will now have water that didn't have water 10 years ago. But we do about 70 people a day we provide fresh drinking water for. So for every $150, and excuse me if my math is off because I have not figured that one this month, but for every $150, we provide fresh drinking water to a person for a lifetime. And then for every $25,000 that we bring in, we free a child from sex trafficking. And so that's what gets me up in the morning. Like it's not about I need to get on this phone call because I mean, guys, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Some days, especially when I was in network marketing, like I didn't have to do anything if I didn't want to. I could take the day off. Now I was gonna suffer for it tomorrow because I wasn't gonna be able to provide for my family. But for me, it was like, oh, let me just take the day off. Let me just spend a couple hours doing this, and then the whole entire day gets away from you. Whereas now, if I don't get up, I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if I don't feel like getting on the phone. I wake up, I do my priming, I think about the things that I'm grateful for, and I go to my office to see how much impact I can make every single day. And sadly enough, we'll do more for others sometimes than we will do for ourselves. And for me, it's just that shift that I needed is to force me to get on the phone. What if, and it does for me. If I don't get on the phone and have a conversation, if I don't do a live, I am killing children. That is where I'm at in my mindset right now. And so every 6 seconds, a child dies. We've been on this live for almost an hour. That means that what, 10 times 6, 60 children have died since we started this conversation. And we could have all ended that for about $4.20.
This is
It
so,
is, it is unfathomable. So we can all work together and create a purpose that's bigger than our problems. And when we do that, one, let's help people heal financially because that's the most important piece, right? We have to help them see that they have the money to get started. We have to help them buy the products that are going to help heal their body. We have to help them have a better life. So if we can help them heal financially, help them teach more how to save more, then we can help them have more, they can live more, and then they can give more, which is the true meaning of life. If you haven't figured that out yet, you are missing the boat, guys. Like you are missing the boat. It is my business, although I hate taxes. I hate them. I hate doing tax returns. I hate doing paperwork. I just want to run my mouth all day long, yet again, every single day, people to say, you know what, Courtney, I got you. But I review every tax return that walks out of my office because it's important for me to make sure that you're taken care of. It's important to me to make sure that I'm saving you as much money as possible. So we find about $500,000 a week, every single week now, that people didn't even know existed, that we're going back and amending tax returns. We're providing advanced immune support to 10,000 children a day. Like we're doing a study right now to end the suffering of sickle cell disease in Nigeria. We're doing a government backed clinical trial that I'm funding through my accounting practice with a nonprofit there, a doctor, and we're going to end the suffering of sickle cell disease with this product that we're giving. Never in a million years would I have thought 4 years ago that I was sitting on a couch in Alabama with my 6 children trying to figure out how on earth I was going to make it and making a decision on whether or not I could do this or not. And in the next 12 months, we'll be a $20 million company. And that's what I want you to understand. Like, you got to get your mind right first, but you got to be able to free up the money and you got to help other people do the same thing. Because I wouldn't have, if I had not, I could be an accountant all day long. If I didn't have the backing of the network marketing industry and to be able to share with people how I got to the top 1% and how I didn't have the money to get started. Me being an accountant, I took the skills that I learned from the network marketing industry and I grew an accounting practice that's growing faster than big four firms. So when you understand that, like this is not just about selling somebody on something. This is about changing their life. This is about helping them have, there's a better way. And then you create this massive addiction that you can't stop. Like you don't want to go on vacation because children die. Like that's where I'm at. Like I want to help more people. I want to change people's lives. And it forces you to get up and go to work every single day so that you can make impact. And regardless if someone listens to you or not, at least you gave them the opportunity because they don't know this information. And you are doing them a disservice. You are hurting people if you're not asking them to be involved in your home-based business. And the reason why is because you're not giving them the ability or the education to be able to free up $4,000 to $8,000 a year. And guys, what if they lose their job in 6 months from now? What if they lose their job and you didn't share with them that opportunity and their business, they suffer from it? Share with them, give them the information, allow them to make their own decisions. And if they come back and attack you for it, I want you to tell them the exact same thing that I just shared with you. All I was doing for you, Eric, is showing you a way that you could free up $4,000 to $8,000 a year for your family. Showing you a way that you could buy a product or a service at wholesale versus retail, and showing you a way that you could potentially make some extra money. Period.
That's it.
If you don't get that, or if you're mad at me, or you're upset with me, or you think I'm crazy, I was trying to help you. And that's what people need to understand. You're not trying to sell them, you're trying to help them.
So I think, it kind of as a final thought, I hope you guys heard the passion in Courtney's voice. If you, it's amazing how many times I'll be speaking on stage and I'll ask the audience, is it better to give or receive? And everybody says, give. And I say, you're wrong. It's better to receive because you don't have any money to give. You need to keep more of your money. You need to make money because then you have more money to give. Then you can make a bigger impact in the world. And that's what really we're trying to do is how do we help people keep more money, make more money, and give more money?
Yes.
And what, I think we all agree when you have a mindset that if I don't make this phone call or if I don't at least try or if I don't take action, children are dying, things are happening. There's a consequence to me not doing this call or doing action. I think that's the challenge is most people in the network marketing profession sit around and go, it's okay if I don't do something today. And it happens today, then it happens tomorrow, then it happens the next day, then it becomes the habit. And what happens is you've got to get in a habit of making a promise to yourself and keeping it. Yes. That's what I noticed for myself is I would make a promise and then, the next day I would weasel out of it. I'd be okay with it. And I started to realize that I lost myself. I didn't believe myself anymore. I lost my promises. Make a promise. You're going to do this. There's an accountability because there's an action or result to the back of it, which is if I do this, I know that somebody's going to get fed or there's something that's an accountability to that. Find that motivation, that accountability. And so that will help you make those actions each day. Second thing I just wanted to say is people don't realize that money is always flowing. What Courtney said that, you hold on to it so tight and you don't give, but when she gave, next thing she got a check the next week. I promise you this, money is always moving. It's always flowing. It's either working for you or working for somebody else. And so you can give that back on the paycheck. Somebody else is taking that and using it. It's flowing. But also when you you plug up your pipeline, your money pipe, money can't flow to you anymore. That's why the idea of I'm making money. And if I just sit and I save it, and I don't do anything with it, and I don't give it back out, that's why the business expenses and things or giving, you have to free money flow up. If you don't, you're just going to sit and you're going to have what you have. There is no way for more money to come to you. You've got to understand and you have to believe this, that when I write that check and I give, and then I just work my daily process, that money's going to flow back to me. It's the laws of life. It happens. So you guys, we are about an hour. Thank you so much. Courtney, you're an incredible person. I love your heart. I love your mission. Love the education and, the impact that you're making on the world, on this profession. And I'm super excited to not only, work hand in hand with you, but also share that education globally and make a huge impact in the world. So super appreciate you. Everyone that's on the call, thank you so much for staying here till the end. We appreciate you. Just know that, just understand that we're going to do more and more connections like these with Courtney, bring you incredible people, incredible content, and hopefully we can give you the tools to go apply that content. So have an amazing day, you guys. Super appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.